webinar on making an impact with data science, what companies look for in top data scientists. And this is brought to you by the University of Cambridge, Institute of Continuing Education, in collaboration with FourthRev. So looking for expecting a very strong attendance this lunchtime. So thank you all for making the time. Quite a lot to get through. But first of all, just going to start with a bit of context about the Institute for Continuing Education at Cambridge and FourthRev. And so the Institute of Continuing Education, or ICE, it's their mission is to support the University of Cambridge's promise to prioritise and enable learning throughout life and to promote the widest possible access to the university. And so the collaboration between ICE and FourthRev has been to develop an industry co-designed, co-created career accelerator, which helps address the shortage of high demand technology and technology adjacent roles. And so our first of this collaboration is in data science. And we're going to be getting into more detail on the program today, as well as the broader topic, but very, very excited to be bringing you this in collaboration. My name is Jack Hylands. I'm one of the co-founders and co-CEOs of FourthRev, and of course, an absolute pleasure to be collaborating with the University of Cambridge on this program, as well as our industry experts and some of whom are represented in the panel today. So what are you going to get out of this next 60-minute session? So one, we're going to learn more about the rising industry demand for data scientists. Why have we focused our attentions on this particular vertical, this particular program? And then in order to be successful and take advantage of this huge demand, what are some of the key traits that employers are seeking in top data scientists, looking across not just the technical skills, but also the commercial acumen, the diverse skill sets that include the interpersonal, legal, moral, ethical skills, which are all critical to data scientist roles in today's economy. And then, of course, also looking at some of the advanced technical skills that are most applicable to business and most differentiate candidates taking advantage of these opportunities. And then lastly, how does the Data Science Career Accelerator empower you with these essential skills, capabilities, and experience that positions you to have that substantial impact in business, meet the needs that employers are looking for, and really accelerate your career in a way that most meets your needs, goals, and aspirations? So we've got a lot to get through, and there'll be some more information on the Career Accelerator itself at the end of the session for those that wish to stick around. So few practicalities. We will keep to an hour today, and as I said, stay with us till the end, and there'll be questions that people can submit through the Q&A function through the session that we will answer at the end of our discussion with our panelists. And then following the Q&A, there'll be a walkthrough of our enrollments process into the Career Accelerator with Daniel Cairns, our head of enrollments here at FourthRev. A benefit for everyone who's in attendance today that they can claim a concession of £500 off the total program fee if you register before the Christmas break, and also get exclusive access to a follow-up machine learning masterclass on the 25th of January. The details being shared there in the comments. As I said, please share any questions you have in the Q&A function, and we'll respond to as many as we can at the end of our panel discussions. Any comments and conversation in the chat function is always very welcome, and we will be in touch following this with a summary of the session and as well as sharing the slides that we get through. Email address is there for anyone that wants to be in touch following the session as well. Okay, so without further ado, I am delighted to introduce your panelists for today's webinar. Actually, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. So if they can all turn on their cameras for me now, that would be appreciated. And we'll start off with Dr. Ali Al-Shabazz. Please can you introduce yourselves to the audience?
Thank you, Jack. This is Ali Shabazz. I'm the academic director for digital skills, which include data science, and in the future we will have AI and cybersecurity, anything relevant to digitals at the Institute of Continuing Education, University of Cambridge. And nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali. Over to you, Robert.
Thank you, Jack. My name's Robert Hardman. I'm sort of working at the coalface in industry, both advising them on data science and analytics and AI, and at the same time using and hiring and looking for people with the right skills to take advantage and to bring them into industry to successfully take on evidence-based computing, I suppose we'd call it.
Fantastic, Robert. Thank you. Mayo, if you can go next, please. Looks like we might have a connection issue there.
My name's Mayo Fabi, and I'm a career coach. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think a little bit of a delay. We can't see your video, but we can hear you now.
All right, I'll keep it off. I think the bandwidth is acting up, if that's okay. Hopefully it'll sound better now that it's off. Is it making a difference?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm a career coach at FourthRev, and that essentially means helping people start out in their career, make massive career transition, or advancing their, and at the center of everything that I do, it's about helping individuals become more of who they want to be.
Wonderful, Mayo. Thank you very much. And yes, thank you for all the wonderful work that you do with our learners on a day-to-day basis. Seeing some of those career outcomes really has been incredible this year. Shanoop, please introduce yourself for us.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. Hi, my name is Shanoop Peer. I'm a data scientist, having worked with organizations developing custom solutions. Currently, I'm the subject lead for data science at FourthRev.
Thank you, Shanoop. Yes, and absolutely fundamental to the wonderful program we're building with Dr. Ali Ashbaz at the University of Cambridge. Okay, so I'm going to start by just setting a bit of context on the data science landscape, which I think with most people attending, they're probably familiar with some of these numbers, but I think they're worth revisiting just to highlight the scale of the need and the opportunity. And so data from the World Economic Forum this year, estimating 1.4 million additional jobs in data by 2027, a 35% growth in data roles by that year that constitutes. And 80% of the fastest growing roles in the world are in data, have data at their core. And so it really is, in huge demand. That bridges across into AI, of course, which is another critical focus and topic area for pretty much everyone at the moment. But really what we're getting into today is what are the skills, what are the capabilities, what's the experience that people need in order to take advantage of these massive opportunities and meet this huge demand from industry. And that need is not currently being met, as we see with 46% and the highest areas that companies are reporting that they are unable to meet their needs because of a lack of skills in the space. And that goes right across the commercial landscape, with three of the highest demands being in supply chain, retail, and financial services. But we actually see it in every industry, both in the private and the public sector. Speaking from personal experience, massively in the education space now. We see it hugely in healthcare, in technology services, in consultancy services, data coming to the core of absolutely everything that people are looking for. And so here is a quote which we think nicely summarizes how do we bridge that gap between this need for business and the skills and capabilities that people require to really meet that business need. And this is from one of our experts that's contributed to the development of the Career Accelerator program with the university. And that is the downfall of a lot of data scientists is they can deliver the work but not draw out the business implications. You can stay purely technical, but to really progress in your career, you need to understand how your analysis will lead to business change. And so at the core of the collaboration that we've done here is really about, okay, let's understand absolutely what are the foundational technical skills and the advanced technical skills that people need in order to successfully function as a data scientist. But actually, what is it that businesses are really looking for in their most effective data scientists to truly drive that business value? And that goes beyond the technical skills into the interpersonal skills, into the business application, into the commercial understanding. And that holistic skill set is at the core of the FourthRev and University of Cambridge methodology around building out this project-based program. And we're going to get into some more of that detail with our panelists shortly. And so let's jump into questions with our panel. And yes, to remind people, they're very welcome to share questions in the Q&A throughout the session, and we will come to them at the end of the panel discussion. And so we're going to start with Dr. Ali. That first question. So getting straight to the crux of it, how do you become the data scientist companies everywhere want to hire? Can you outline the key skills and traits needed to thrive in the world of data science?
Thank you, Jack. This question actually is a fundamental. When we designed the course initially, we did the market research with the top employers. They are relevant to the data science. And in order to summarize that, actually, it is to become the data scientist that companies everywhere want to hire. It is essential to cultivate a combination of technical expertise, business acumen, and soft skills. And that is combined in, first, technical proficiency. We need a strong foundation in data science. This is a crucial, and including programming language like Python, through understanding of data manipulation, visualization, statistical modeling techniques. Also, familiarity with machine learning algorithms, time series analysis, natural language processing, which we call it NLP, and other advanced data science techniques. These skills actually increasingly in demand across various industries. The other aspect also, what the learner or the student will learn from this course, is the business understanding. So when we design the course, we really consider that the data scientist must be able to translate the technical insights into business value. And of course, that's required understanding of the business context as well, including industry-specific challenges, opportunities, and they have to be identify the key business problem, use data to inform and influence strategic decisions. And this is a crucial skills. The third one is a problem-solving skills. Companies actually seek data scientists who can not only analyze the data, but also design effective solution to complex problem. And we need to, and we involve the consultant mindset to enable one to understand the problem in depth, hypothesis solutions, test them, and iterate based on feedback. The fourth one, which is really also crucial, is the ethical and the legal awareness. Knowledge of the data ethics, privacy law, GDPR, it's increasingly important. Company want data scientists who can navigate the ethical and the legal application of the work. And that's especially when handling sensitive information. The other skills, it's a communication and collaboration. When we designed the course, we focused on how the learner or the student can communicate complex data insights into clear, accessible manner to a non-technical stakeholders. And this is a key, actually. We have excellent data scientists, but they don't have the capability to explain to a different stakeholder. That is also a skills we are addressing in this course. Adaptability and continual learning, that is also because the data science is rapidly evolving. And as an Institute of Continuing Education, we are keen to make sure that the attitude of continuous learning and adaptability is a vital point. What are the practical side? That's important. This is a practical-based course. So we rely on the portfolio of practical experience. It's hands-on experience, evidence through portfolio projects. This is highly valued exercise they are doing. Also, this can be through work experience, and that is what we do, and we provide them with the data, a real world scenario. This is a powerful way to attract potential employers, and that's what's actually doing with our partners in particular.
Thank you very much. Yeah, really comprehensive answer there, and I'm looking forward to getting any comments from Robert shortly. But just summarizing that back, we're looking at the technical skills, the business application, the problem solving that's so valued, the interpersonal skills, which includes that sort of consultancy skill set, which is communicating with technical and non-technical stakeholders to really understand the problems, but also land the solutions. And then fundamental to the whole methodology of the program, inspiring that continuous learning, which is key to a data scientist always moving forward, but also providing the hands-on experience. It's a project-based learning program, always around applying the skills and capabilities that are being developed and culminating in an employer project. And we're working with the likes of the Bank of England, as well as several other employer partners that are providing real world scenarios that our learners get to develop out their portfolios, which again supports them into that not only the development of the skills, but being able to demonstrate that to prospective employers. So yes, a very comprehensive program and comprehensively covered there. Robert, coming into you, how does that, first of all, match up against the sort of what you see at the coalface in terms of your needs, and then into that next question around how you see those the data science space evolving over the next 5 years?
Okay, Jay, I think Professor Ali hit it on the nail. I mean, if I was going to write it down, what I'm seeing, the ability to have those core math skills, everything from signal processing to statistics, these are the bedrock. But the key thing is this is a business problem, which he put out there. I always put it the Cassandra syndrome. There's no point in being right if you can't convince people that you're right. And I see that so often. So much work is done but goes nowhere. So the ability to convince and put your answer forward in a business sense is just as critical as being able to get the answer. The two are so important. And I find, and it's hard a lot of time when we get data scientists coming in, because what is required is a sense of confidence, that they can be very confident in the answer they are putting forward. And that confidence enables you to persuade people that what you've done is correct or is meaningful. So to have that confidence, you really need to be a virtuoso in the tools that you are using, because you are going to put yourself out there and say, no, this is what we've done. If someone comes and they do not provide the confidence in their voice and what they're presenting, a lot of that disappears. And many times good people and good work just disappears. So I'm just paraphrasing what Dr. Ali said anyway, but it really did hit it. No data scientist is an island unto himself. He lives in a business world, and that business world is connected psychologically. Often the question that you will receive, there is a business need, but often there is a political reason why that question is being asked you. And you need to put it in its perspective to decide how you answer that question. There's always politics involved. Somebody asked me, what's a good reading list for data scientists? And I said, Machiavelli, The Prince. And, and then I might give them maybe, Socrates and the Socratic method. And I'm not joking. These two books are sort of place you in a real world, So that's very important. And I believe that the course that we're designing here will provide that. And that is so important. So later on, I'll talk about some examples where you will see these points exactly in the real world, what have happened. And the second part,
just before you move on, question that's come through in the Q&A would be, what is the number one thing you look for when hiring a data scientist? So of those things that we've mentioned, is there anything that you can put at the top of the pile?
I suppose, well, confidence is always important. So there's no doubt that's the thing. But I expect them to be inquisitive, that they're wanting to learn, that they mightn't know the maths that they need to know yet, but they're willing to go out there and learn it. or someone can teach it to them. So that hunger to keep improving, to realize what they know and what they don't know.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And then, yes, I think you're about to kick into the second part of the question around data science over the next 5 years.
Yes. I'm not a soothsayer, but I can. So please take this with a pinch of salt. But what I do see, and first of all, and my background's physics, so I'm very logical. And I can say, fact number one, that the amount of data that we're dealing with is growing every year. It's not going to get less. That's a really fundamental question or point. The amount of data that a business generates and needs to look at is increasing. So with that, the ability to understand and extract insights from that data that are evidence-based is going to be critical. It's not an option. Businesses either will do it or will go out of business. And I sit on a number of advisory groups, and you can see that the CEOs of companies are starting to realize that what they could get by with, they can't now. And so they're definitely looking for people who can problem solve. I think that was brought up. It is very much, we want people who can solve problems. They look at data scientists. There's two types. There's ones which they just want to keep in the back room, and those days are disappearing. So what they need now are people who can stand in front of the business, within the business. And that's changing now, because with the large release, of, we'll just say large language models, AI, the two, what was data science and what is AI, are merging in a sense. AI can be considered as, it's another tool for a data scientist to, it's a mathematical method they can analyze data with. That's a very narrow thing, but it can do that. But at the same time, it can give the data scientists clues and ideas of what to analyze or how to formulate the problem. So the two disciplines are integrating together in a way. And you see that it's that people are now starting to use it to decide how to analyze, what to analyze, or to use the actual ML algorithms to do some of the analysis. I mean, sometimes we see people just use machine learning for the sake of it when a normal statistical inference model would have been just as good. And you see people, they have one tool and they use it for everything. But the future is there are not enough data scientists who have the ability to sit between and sit in the business and see how they use this to solve a business problem rather than an academic problem. And the amount of data is growing quickly. But a key point is, and this is going to become even more important, and it's with the ethics and the security. And I might have time to go into some of the examples where this really has come up. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And what one can retrieve from the data is quite scary sometimes. So yes, you need to be a person who understands the ethics of what you're doing. You need to be able to persuade that to a board why you can do this or why you should not do this, just as much as the mathematical techniques that you're using to find these insights and present them. As you pointed out, technology is changing so quickly that a business that says, here's my 6-month plan or my 1-year plan to do something, it will be out of date before you even get halfway. So there's a whole different way of planning to build solutions and to think about solutions. You can no longer, if you say I've got this 1-year plan or 2-year plan to do X, you won't be in business. And so being able to think quickly. So the future is we need more data scientists, but what a data scientist is going to be in 5 years will be much broader than, shall we say, what the current view is. Their disciplines and their skills are going to be, like I said, I would give them, from Machiavelli down to do your maths.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, really, really interesting. And I think that comes in on nicely to our next question for Shanoop, which is around that skill set, and it is moving beyond just the technical and with a focus on the key problem solving approaches. So what are some of those approaches that top scientists take to complex challenges that drive impactful results for business? Been at the core of developing a lot of the program and the problems that learners have to solve. So really interested to get your insights there.
Sure. Yeah. So I have to admit that, Professor Ali definitely stole my thunder. And if that wasn't enough, Robert has nicely rounded it off. So I'll have to now, because I don't want to sound repetitive. So to answer this question, I'll share some insights on what happened when we got into the research phase of this program. And it kind of answers that first question that came up. What is the most important skill? So what we did was we spoke to several industry leaders, data leaders, Robert being one of them, to understand what are you looking for? Especially we spoke to leaders who are managing a team of data scientists, and then asked them, who would be your superstar data scientist, and what would make that person a superstar? And it's interesting that we had a nice consensus across the spectrum of leaders that we spoke to. And more than the advanced techniques, not in any way saying that the advanced techniques are not required, but many of those leaders actually spoke about the simpler things, simpler but more powerful things. Number one, that business understanding. Now, many times this is greatly getting overlooked, and almost every one of those data leaders that we spoke to stressed on this point. You want to make a difference. You want to be considered as a go-to person, considered as a superstar in your organization. You need to always have that business mindset. And when you speak to business stakeholders, because at the end of the day, it's the business that's sponsoring the project and your work and everything, and they need a return on investment. So at some point or the other, you or your team or your manager will have to speak to the business stakeholders to help them out, having used all of these advanced techniques. So you need to have that business language, and to have that business language, you need to have that business understanding. If you go in there and talk about, I used this technique and this parameter, I fine-tuned it, they're going to immediately switch off, right? So yes, definitely you should have that technical background, technical acumen, but then you should also know when to switch your language and your the way you present the concepts. Number one. So right at the beginning, that talk that you have with the business stakeholders to understand what is it that matters to you, what is it that matters to the business, why have you called me here, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve, and then to actually go over and above the kind of understanding that you will get from the business stakeholders. So it is your duty, your job to probe further, rather than stick to exactly what the business stakeholders tell you, because we come into it with a different angle, with an analytical approach, and there might be hidden, latent business drivers sitting in there that the business stakeholders might not be aware of. So this is where we started out, number one. Number two, what is generally, again, another thing that we found out is that they're all able to do these concepts, apply these concepts, but there isn't actually a depth of understanding of some of these. What do these mean? When you see these numbers, instead of jumping to conclusions, are you aware of where these numbers are coming from and why these numbers are appearing the way it is? And what are those things that now you can go back and touch so as to influence these numbers? And there seems to be a general sense that data science is all about a trial and error approach. Again, yes, there is a trial and error approach involved, but there has to be an informed process as well. And this is where while you're going through the process of understanding all of these concepts, you need to really dig your feet in to get into the crux of the matter. as opposed to, and just to quote you, Robert, during those interviews that we had, Robert actually said, we'll pay you to stay at home, because you coming into work is actually causing more damage. You're coming in with your amazing neural network models, and before I start talking, you've already started running your model and coming up with a suggestion to the business, which is, well, to put it mildly, which is absolutely nonsense, right? So please stay at home, you'll get your salary. I think that pretty much, for me, instead of talking about the more advanced things, I would say let's focus on the simpler things, because that's what helps the business.
Thank you, Shanoop. And yes, very enjoyable quote there from Robert. He looked a little nervous then as what you were about to say, but I think he's standing by it. Maya, if we've got you there, would love to get your perspective to round out. You work with a number of individuals that are looking to progress their careers in digital fields, including data science. And so would love to get your perspective around what strategies can individuals employ to balance that technical proficiency with the softer skills such as communication and collaboration, which we're hearing are so important to job opportunities in this data science space.
Yeah, and the previous speakers have done an amazing job of talking about what people generally refer to as the soft skills. And I find the term deceptive at the same time, in that it makes us think that they're not really that important, It's something we can do as a by the way kind of thing. But it's through developing your soft skills, your human skills, that I call them sometimes, that you'll be able to stand out in the marketplace. So I really want to zoom in on communication skills and expand that on the importance of storytelling. So in as much as we have the technical ability of data science, how are you able to translate that information into a story that an average person can understand, that the different stakeholders that you're serving can understand? So being intentional about developing storytelling is important. And also project management skills in terms of managing your time, prioritizing the different phases of the project as you're going about gathering the data, working with the different tools, etc. Because it might sound as a by the way kind of thing, but if you can't organize yourself as a data scientist in a way that will optimize whatever it is that you're doing, you're always going to be on the back foot. And something that really supports the critical thinking that other panelists have mentioned, the critical thinking, the problem solving, is developing a growth mindset, being able to grow from experiences, grow from challenges, and always see challenges as an opportunity to learn something new, to bring about something that may have never been done before through the data science work that you'll be doing. So I think these key things in terms of developing the...
Oh, sadly, we've lost Maya there, but I think she was just rounding off, that really comprehensive answer. So I think we can keep charging forward, and I'll throw this out to anyone on the panel. Another question that's come through in the Q&A, which is, could data scientists trained from other career backgrounds, e.g. science, business, based on what we've all been hearing so far today, therefore be more favorable than calling sort of true data scientists that come from a sort of very heavy maths background, if the business case is just as important as the analysis and the stats, etc. So I'm sure there isn't a binary answer to this, but interested in any perspectives here on the panel.
Oh, Jack, I'll give a perspective from real world experiences and people I hire and people who work with them, and the answer is yes. There's great advantages in people bringing their experience from different industries, different perspectives. They've been solving problems. They've been perhaps solving them with a different narrative and a different language, but that experience is excellent. It's sort of very similar to having adult students who will want to learn, and they've got that grit and they're wanting to do it. Coming in with another discipline, be it business or marketing or whatever, and taking on the data science allows them to formulate the problems, for those types of industries in a way that a data scientist who hasn't been exposed to that industry doesn't know. So yes, I often look for those skills when I'm looking at hiring people.
Thank you, Robert. And Professor Ali, you obviously are an absolute expert in the digital skills in the continuing education space. So really interested in your perspective around how you see people making these transitions and the benefits of that approach.
Well, the short answer is yes. And how does it work? If you look at the history since we have the IT, people came from different backgrounds to be an IT expert. And this is the same for data science. People are, they have an experience in their own. For example, they come from the financial sector or from the health sector. So they do have in-depth knowledge in the data itself. So we teach them the different statistical model, the algorithms, the machine learning, how it works. And then in addition to their experience, they learn from us how to deal with the data, and we take them to the next step. For that reason, we call it Career Accelerator. So it is, the name of the course is a Data Science Career Accelerator. It's because we can accept people from different discipline. And the whole business model of Institute of Continuing Education, it's for, we have adult learning. So people from 18 to 88, we always say that in ICE, that's people get accepted and learn at ICE. So yes, in a nutshell, yes, other subject discipline, they are welcome to join us. However, we have a prerequisite for this particular Career Accelerator to have their bachelor degree in a relevant topic. And we need also some knowledge in Python and a little bit of, so in the landing page that we have already mentioned that. And I think you have a slide on that, Jack, later on. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go into some of the details at the end of the program on the prerequisites. I think important to call out that our goal is for this program to be as accessible as possible, and people can demonstrate their technical capabilities through an exam as well as through that work experience or prior education. An aptitude test, I should say, rather than an exam. Sounds a bit more formal than I intended. But thank you. And we've got Mo back. Welcome back. We'll come down to you in just a moment. But
all right, cool.
Before I do, Robert, you mentioned before in some of your other answers that there were some examples that you'd be able to get into around data scientists making both that positive, but potentially also the less positive impacts on businesses where you've worked. So would love any anecdotes you can share with us there.
All right, I've got lots of anecdotes, but I'll just carry on and something that Mario said, that the ability to produce a narrative. And I'll give some examples of why that makes such a difference in being able to get your answer across. And one thing, and this is, I think, it's not just for data scientists, but generally, if you are being successful, you're going to ruffle feathers. That's how you know you're being successful. When you bring forth evidence, it's because they didn't know it existed. And often that will break down an existing orthodoxy or something. So be prepared. That is the skill. You're succeeding when you start to ruffle feathers. And therefore, there's a whole bunch of skills to work out, how do I get that across? Because without doubt, you're there to cause change, not to just report on what everyone knows about. And change can ruffle feathers. So I'll give a couple of brief examples of some of the experiences I've had or been working with teams is. I mean, here's two quick ones. This was for an Australian airline, and they asked to look at the data of what was happening, and they were being very successful because this heads of sales were being given their bonuses based on how many planes they could fill up. And they were very pleased that they were filling up their planes and they were getting very big bonuses. But when you applied a little bit of data science, what you saw, what was happening was that people, they would discount their flights a week or two before the flight would take off, and everyone would cancel their full fare ticket and buy the cheap ticket. So what they were doing was costing the airline an enormous amount of money. It looked good when you first looked at it. Oh, we filled up the planes. But the planes were running at a loss because the incentive was to fill the plane up, not to make money on it. And that sounds a simple thing, but to uncover that evidence, then to challenge an industry that had been doing that for so long and people who are making a lot of money out of it is a perfect example of uncovering something that is uncomfortable for people. The second one is, once again, I'll use the airline. The captain of an aeroplane or a large jet is in charge. They have the complete right, and once it leaves the ground, they make the decisions. One of the key decisions is how much fuel do you put on a plane? Now, a plane that carries fuel and doesn't burn that fuel is carrying a lot of extra weight. And so if you land with half a tank, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we analyzed how the fuel is being used in that. And the captains were saying, well, we don't want any smart data analytics that tell us how much fuel we should put on the plane. Yes, you can analyze the weather conditions along the flight path, know the weight of the plane, and you can calculate pretty exactly how much fuel they'll use. But the captains were saying, no, we're the captain, we decide. So what we did the analysis, and every day would put up a list of the names of the captains, how much fuel they took off with, and how much they landed with, and how much we predicted they would land with. And that was placed in a notice board in the cafeteria every day. Within 2 weeks, they started to change how much fuel they'd load on their plane. So here's an example of using human nature to win the argument. You had to realize that captains would not, no matter what you said, it was up to them to make the right decision. But however, when you made that information public, in a certain sense, it was amazing how all of a sudden the mathematics, yeah, we'll do that, we'll follow that. So that's 2 examples. So you need to bring a lot of skills to bear to not only do the analysis, but to work out, how do I make the change? How do I get the business to use this and make a change? A third one was with HMRC, which is a government department of immense size. And we've done a lot of analysis, and you get about 3 or 4 minutes with the civil servants and the head, of HMRC. And they have if you can get 3 minutes of them to concentrate on something, you might be lucky, right? So we had a meeting with them. We called all the top civil servants and top politicians in to make this presentation. So what I did, I made what would be considered a heat map, but what it basically was about 6 meters, no, probably 8 meters of basically black paper, it looked like, that was slowly turning a little bit into the red, and at the very middle there was a little red stripe. And I wallpapered the wall of this very Georgian room. So when the civil servants came in, before they even sat down, they looked at this little wallpaper going across the room. And they said, so what's this? And I said, see that little red line? That's the amount of money that actually is making money. That's the investment you've made. That's what's being used. Everything else is wasted. So before we even started the conversation and the presentation, they'd already understood that this was huge. And in the end, it ended up saving the government about £380 million every year. But if you hadn't caught their attention and got the argument to them before they sat down with the government, you would have lost. I suppose a fourth one, I'll give it another.
Sorry, Rob. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to have to say thank you very much. But that's fascinating insights into that real world context of going beyond, yes, the technical skills and the analysis to actually having that impact. And the project-based methodology of the program tries very much to bring that to the fore. I'm going to go to our last sort of few questions, which are all related to the Career Accelerator itself, and we've got about 6 minutes or so, so a couple of minutes per question if we're going to try and work through these. And starting off with Dr. Ali, could you please expand on that first question, how this Career Accelerator program will empower learners to cultivate a mindset to succeed as a leading data scientist in the world of business?
Thank you very much. Of course, this needs answered more than one minute, but I'm trying my best. As I mentioned, we need to empower the learner to cultivate a mindset that sum up with the success of data science, and the program being designed with the comprehensive technical training, and we do focus on supervised, unsupervised learning. We are using the machine learning so that the learner, they can learn that alongside the existing data and the statistical model. The other one, as I mentioned, the business acumen development, that's actually a key, as Robert mentioned. It's tolerated to enhance the understanding of the business context. That is important. And the aspect of the curriculum is crucial for translating the data to actionable business strategy. Focus on the employability skills. That's the third one. So the Career Accelerator we designed is to boost the employability. And that is the skills based on the problem solving, critical thinking, and leadership skills. The fourth one is the personal growth and development. Focus on the personal competence for successful career, as well as encourage to self-awareness, emotional regulation as well. Real world project experience, that was a key for this course, to provide the learner with a real world project experience. They can practice it and they get feedback. And as I mentioned, ethical and legal awareness and holistic learning approach. So the learner is going to approach of skills development and ensuring that the learner don't just become a proficient in technical aspects of a data science, but also evolve as well as rounded professional capability of a significant contribution to organization success. So in a summary, the program prepare learner not only the technical domain, but also equipped with the business insight, employability skills, personal growth strategy. And that is what we're expecting from so the learner expected from us as a course.
Thank you, and yes, well summarized in a short period of time. And so Shanoop, coming through to, those are the capabilities that we're developing, and so what are some of the key outcomes? What will learners graduate and walk away with from the program?
Yes, so first and foremost, a business mindset, which we have woven into the entire program as a golden thread. So it will be everywhere, right throughout the program. Secondly, on the technical side of things, we give a strong foundation in statistics and in machine learning. And finally, we do a deep dive into two of the most advanced topics in data science today, which is natural language processing and time series. And it all culminates with a comprehensive real-world employer partner project. But it's not just one large employer project that this program has. It will be a nice portfolio of various different projects where the focus of each project will be on a different area and topic of data science and its application. So this, in a nutshell, encompasses the overall philosophy of the program.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And I think just with the final question, we're going to go to you, before we hand over to our head of enrollments, Daniel Cairns, to share some more detail, which I think most of the questions in the Q&A have been in relation to details around the program. And if people stick around, then Daniel will be getting into that very, very shortly. And so, Maya, just to finish us off there, how does career coaching work during the Career Accelerator? And what impact could this have on someone wanting to accelerate their career in data science?
Fingers crossed my internet holds up. Just wanted to summarize just a few words on what I was saying about communication, in that we're not starting from scratch. Wherever you are with communication, you have transferable skills from your previous employer. So that's also something to consider when you reflect on your communication skills. So in terms of the career coaching, it really is geared to help people position themselves in the marketplace, to stand out in a competitive environment. So we're all about helping you build a professional online presence, empower you with networking skills. The word confidence has come up quite a bit. So that's something we explore within the career coaching to help you build up your confidence, help you with communication skills, storytelling, et cetera, And the practical aspect of the career coaching, you get 6 sessions altogether, which you can take over the duration of the program. And we also give an additional 3 months at the end of the program. So you'll have a career coach that is dedicated to your growth and your development, where you have one-on-one sessions with the career coach that you're allocated with. And we really are about helping learners grow holistically. So it's not just about focusing on the hard skills that you need to develop, but also the soft skills that I mentioned earlier in terms of coming back to my introduction, helping you become more of who you want to be. So I'll leave it there because of time.
No, thank you. And yes, always time pressured in these environments. So at that point there, I will say thank you so much for rounding us off brilliantly there, Mayo, and for those insights. And then to our other panelists, Dr. Ali, Robert, Shanoop, thank you so much for all of your time today and sharing your wisdom, experience and insights with everyone that's joined us here on the panel. We can now introduce Daniel Cairns, our head of enrollments, who's going to take us through some of the areas, which is going to cover off a lot of the questions that have come through on the audience Q&A, and we think that'll be the best way to do it with the time allotted. So thank you to all of you, and Daniel, we hand over to yourself.
Thank you, Jack and panel. It was interesting, very interesting listening to your insights and very much appreciated as well. I thank you for your time. Thanks, Jack. Sam, I'm going to ask if you can pop the Q&As or refresh the Q&A because I've joined late. I actually can't see the questions. If you could pop them in there, that would be most helpful. As Jack mentioned, I'm head of enrolments here at FourthRev, and it's my pleasure to take you through an additional session after the panel have finished to answer any specific questions you may have furthermore about the program, the application process, the entry criteria, and how we can assist you as well. Thank you.
So Daniel, if you could start that perhaps by just taking us through the overall structure here on the screen around the Data Science Career Accelerator one question, so people have got that insight.
Fantastic, thank you. As was mentioned, the design process was fascinating for this program in particular, and it culminates, well, the outcome is this 7-month career accelerator that's been designed in collaboration with industry and academia. It consists of 4 courses, and we've mentioned also the industry project that I'll touch on a bit deeper in the end. But course 1, applying statistics and core data science techniques in business. It's been mentioned a lot by the panel, the value of that already. Course 2, solving problems with supervised learning. Course 3 is applying advanced data science techniques, a very in-depth course, that one. And lastly, exploring the future of data science, running parallel with the industry project with the likes of SAS or Bank of England as well. The projects, the learning outcomes culminate in your opportunity of participating in that employer-facing project at the end. And it has been mentioned, but I'll dive a little bit deeper into that very quickly for the audience, where participating in the industry project enables the application of learning in a real-world setting, first and foremost. It is a brilliant way to also network more deeply, not only with industry, but with your peers. And we believe, and we've seen this with many successful career outcomes in our Career Accelerator program, it is an inspiring demonstration of value to a potential employer for you to discuss and tell the story of working with the likes of Bank of England or SAS on an industry project to demonstrate the challenge that they presented to you as a team of 4 or 5 learners together, and to then come up together or work through the project together to come up with innovative and tangible solutions, demonstrating the potential impact of your work in the real world as well. So the industry project is a great cornerstone in which you apply your learning furthermore. That's a quick overview of the structure of the program. I've got some of the questions listed, which is great. And I'll get through some questions as quick as I can, but also I'm here for as long as people need the questions to be answered as well. Thank you once again to the panel. It was brilliant to listen to all of your insights as well. Entry criteria. So Galang has asked, do I need to have foundation in data science or work professionally as a data scientist for the program? Yes, in short, it is important that one has the basic understanding and fundamentals of data and the application of learning, therefore, into the professional environments that we hope and are confident in which you'll go. So there's foundational technical skills that are required, the ability to interpret data and analytical output, basic programming in skills in Python, and an undergraduate degree that contains a quantitative unit of study. That's coupled with a minimum of 1 year of professional experience in a data-aligned role. It doesn't have to be in a scientific role specifically, but a role in which you're exposed to data and the application thereof is certainly most important as well. Someone would like to book a time. There is an option to do so in the chat function. Lucy's asked here, would you accept a master's graduate of computer science? Yes, Lucy, that certainly meets the academic criteria. If one doesn't have the prerequisite Python programming skills, book a time with your enrolment advisor because we do have a pathway in which to develop those skills to meet the entry criteria and an aptitude test thereafter as well. Do you have to have any industry relevant projects do you have any industry relevant projects related to science? Yes, one of data science in particular, obviously, but one example of the industry project with Bank of England is going to be a very big privately held data set surrounding the future of inflation over a long period of time. We're most excited about that. It's the most topical topical subject, but also have the ability to apply the learning from the 4 courses previously to that to provide solutions potentially to that, I guess, global challenge, but in this case, obviously, a UK challenge that we all know so much about. We've mentioned the knowledge of Python as a prerequisite for the course. There are lots of platforms and websites that walk you through some of the degree, but to what depth of Python knowledge is the course requesting? I touched on that very, very briefly, but the practical experience in accessing, manipulating, querying, and analyzing data using a range of software and tools, including obviously the following in terms of Python for data and analysis, NumPy, Pandas. Python for data visualization is also a prerequisite, as well as the knowledge and application of statistical principles for descriptive analysis. I hope that answers your question there as well. Keep them coming through. How much is the fees for the program? £8,000 is the fee for the program, and we're really, really pleased to offer a range of ways to make that more accessible for more learners. They come in the form of a interest and fee-free payment plan option over either 6 or 9 months. And we're very pleased to also partner with EdAid for UK residents that meet the eligibility criteria, UK residents and citizens, I should say, who offer 24-month payment plans with no interest and no fees associated with those plans as well. So again, enabling more people to access this level of learning for the benefit of their careers is something that we're striving to achieve, and we certainly are very happy to partner with EdAid on that as well. Is the course targeted at people already in data scientist roles looking to further boost their profiles, or is it open to people with some knowledge or even entry level? Great question. So yes, there are certainly those that are seeking to advance their careers, and we do have some career changes. The third cohort or the third persona that we often support in career accelerators in career starters may need that little bit of professional experience prior to. But if you do have some experience and you meet the criteria, or even if you're not sure, I do recommend booking a time with your enrolment advisor, as they'll be able to walk you through, number one, should you meet the criteria, or number two, certainly a pathway in which to be able to meet the entry criteria, either with professional experience or with some of the Python experience and learning that we can offer as well.